Yeah, so where are we? At the playground with our son. Go figure. So a family member of mine asked me, Sharif, what do I say if I refer somebody to your YouTube family page and then the person says he's a preacher and he talks about sex, like his wife twerks and they go into their sex story? I don't agree with that. Why does a preacher have to talk about sex? Sex has been a taboo word for hundreds and hundreds of years, especially in the realm of the church. So let me give you a deliberation as to why I think, as a preacher, me talking about that subject is very important. So I could put it out there, just like this swing, people like to go back and forth and debate. This is not the reason why I'm making that video though. I'm not doing it to go back and forth with people and argue why I think that it's important for a preacher to talk about sex. I just believe that spirituality and sexuality, especially in the Bible, is pretty much closer than people would have you think. If you think about it, you would have to agree that sex is a subject that is frequently used in the Old and also in the New Testament. Now, though the Bible does handle the subject of sex differently than the secular world does, it still is a subject that is very frequent in the Word of God. I can only think of one reason why sex is so frequently mentioned in the Bible, and it must be that there is a correlation between sex and spirituality. Just think about it. Anytime God makes an example about his being displeased with Israel, he always talks about how Israel committed adultery against him. In order to commit adultery, you would have to have external affairs or sexual affairs with someone outside of your marital union. Sex is very prevalent in the Bible. As a matter of fact, the correlation between sex and spirituality is so close that I would say sex is a form of worship. So when you see me with my wife, understand that when we talk about sex, we're coming from a place purely of one, spirituality, but two, we like sex. And it's okay because sex is a form of worship. Now, if you look at it in the Bible, God, when he created man, he said it's not good that man is alone. So he created a woman for him to have a partner, and also that men and women will have sex and populate, be fruitful and multiply. But also he knew that the woman was given to the man so that in sex it would please him.
If you read Song of Songs, you'll see that it's all about sex. The pomegranate. What do you think the pomegranate is? I think that it's important for married people to be comfortable with their sexuality. I know that a lot of the people that I used to be friends with experience kind of some troubles with their sexual relationship, and so it's good for, in my opinion, to have a space, a safe place where you can chat with other people about it. Now, obviously, this is YouTube, so for some it might be a safe place, for others it's not. For me, I'm undisturbed by being public with this because it's on a social media forum that, I mean, I'm putting a video out there and then I'm going on about my day. So it really doesn't affect me the way that it may affect other people. But I think that it's important to highlight that sex is good, that sex is great in marriage, and that God is pleased when a man and a woman come together. Now, how you choose to have your sexual relationship is it's unbeknownst to me. As for me, I'm sexually free, I'm sexually expressive, and I would like to please my husband in every way that he can even imagine. So that's what it's about for me. It's fun, it's creative, it keeps our relationship spicy. As you all know, if you've seen the no sex video, when our relationship was void of sex, because we had just had a baby and we had another child, that was a very stressful situation for me. I think that in relationships, the more sexual person needs that sexual interaction, and whether it's discussing it verbally or thinking about it or having sex, when you're a sexual being, that part of you needs to be aroused. It needs to be stimulated. And so this is my way of doing that and showing you guys you can be in a happily married relationship, be sexual, and be comfortable with that. Because I know a lot of times in the church, sex isn't frowned upon, but it's not smiled upon either. It's like a secret thing that we all do, that we know we all do, but we don't talk about it. And so for some of the women that we've counseled, I know that in their marriage relationship, in their marriage bed more particular, they find it hard to be as expressive as their husbands might secretly desire, and then the husband is not comfortable at making this public request to his wife because he knows that his wife feels ashamed of herself, ashamed of her body, ashamed of her expression, ashamed of being oral with him, ashamed of giving unto him of herself. So we hope that we can stimulate some conversation within your friendships, within your marriage, within your church groups, within your social settings, however that you can get this conversation that sex and marriage is good, sex and marriage is pure, sex not just to recreate, but to actually enjoy one another. I talk about it the way it is in my head and the way it happens, you know, in my relationship.
Right, and at the end of the day, it's fun for us. So
right.
When we're delivering it as fun, yes, it's happened, but it's also fun. And so the thing that we definitely want you all to realize, namely about us when you're watching this show, is that I think we talk about things that you guys are thinking about. You probably just wouldn't blast on Facebook or on YouTube or any other social media. But the important part is somebody needs to talk about it.
You and I were talking the other day, and you had mentioned that the things that we do and the things that we say are things that people want to do and they want to say, and some people don't have the security to do and say those things. And personally, I just think that when there's two people in a marriage and one person is extremely sexual and the other person is a little more meek or a little shy, it's difficult for those two people to come together in a positive way.
Right.
That encourages and strengthens their relationship. Obviously, sex is not the only thing in marriage, but let me be clear, it's huge. And if you think that it's not, you need to wake up. Unless there's two people in a marriage or in a relationship or whatever is your business, and sex is equally dull to both of you, then you're fine. But if you have one person that's super sexually charged and the other person that's like, I could do it once a month, maybe that. And if so, I'm just going to lay here in my missionary position, and go to church and be a missionary. You know, it's just simply, it's unbalanced. And I just know from talking to my guy friends, and I know from talking to some of the girlfriends, this is not something that couples are comfortable discussing.
Right.
The guy vents to his best girlfriend, or he vents to his best guy friend, and the girl vents to, you know, her friends, or she doesn't. She sits there quietly listening to people like me that are like, girl, honey, let me tell you how I'm going to please my man tonight. Like, it's mental.
Right.
Sex is very mental. It's extremely mental. And so I think that I hope that from our vlogs you are more comfortable in having these conversations and asking your partner, what is it that you need of me, and in what ways may I service you?
Point being, although we are not showing you our marriage bed, clearly we wouldn't do that. We want to let you know that our marriage bed does exist.
And it's not just to procreate.
And that's the truth. Alright guys, blessings. So that the world is very populated and they have...
They both crying.